Hello everyone, I'm Gabriele Marra, and I'm going to be the host for the next few sessions here in this technical room. So first of all, I want to remind you that there is always the possibility of sending questions through the web app, through the app. I'm going to read them at the end of the talk, and yeah, that's it. I wanna start to welcome our next speakers. We have Julien Airaud and Yassir Kazar. Julien is a senior cybersecurity expert at CNES, working there since more than 15 years. And then Yassir is the CEO of Yogosha, with more than 2 decades of experience in the cybersecurity world. So welcome, both of you, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So with Yogosha, we're here to maybe you want to introduce the subject, or just to share an experience on a project we've conducted on industrialization of security testing for space systems. Basically, it responds to a need that we had as a space agency. Maybe you know CNES, we are a space agency, of course, a national one, but we are also a space operator, a technical center, and we are involved in a lot of projects, from defense launcher system to scientific mission, data, spread, and research and development. And of course, we care a lot about our economical system and the space sector in general. So with a vast spread of projects that we have on a lot of domain, we have more and more components to manage. We have more and more actors involved in missions, space missions. And we are facing the issue to know basically what we fly, what we operate, what we develop, and how to make sure that the industry is aligned on the sector, on the security standards and on the requirements, and how we have in time a satisfying security level. So basically, we are trying to have, when it comes to component, to system, even if it's orbital system, launchers, or the launch base in Kourou, we are trying to look at every issues we may encounter in the future, and having the obligation to evaluate. Of course, we are a regulated operator by the state, so we have to make sure that all security levels are controlled and under control. And so we were thinking about a way to improve things and to have a kind of industrialization of all the security testing we are conducting, and specifically because for IT in general, it's really easy, straightforward. Everyone does it, including in the mission center. No big deal. But when it comes to component, hardware component, to flying software, and I would say mission software that we integrate into the launcher, then things can become very tricky. So we decided at CNES to manage those components, to have a more product-oriented strategy, and to build an activity on what we call preparing the future, the cyber future. So that's what I'm in charge at CNES, and it's divided in 4 activities, basically. The first one I want to manage is to mention is actually the last one, outreach. So we are trying to publish with the sector. That's really important for us. It's with the sector. It's a work we do with industry partners, organizations from both cyber and space sectors. That's also important for us. We want them to meet and to be in the same group and to discuss and to establish the baseline, the requirements, what we use from the standard, what we want, and what we need for the mission we have when it comes to specific mission we may develop, including for the, I would say, the most needed mission for defense mission. So we are building capacities on cyber threat intel that we wanted to be deployed for the French sector. Space system cybersecurity assessment, it's very important. That's a part we are dealing with today. And we are also developing strategical capacity. I would say sovereign capacity, that's also really important. We need to manage the whole supply chain and to be in control of it every time. So in those activities, when it comes to auditing the system, we had to do something. Context of the project was what we call security testing as a service. We don't want cyber team to be involved that much in the process. That's not what we are aiming for. CNES is a state actor, a government actor. We can't grow out of our limits. That's one side. So we have to make it, to outsource it, I would say, to specific actors and actors that knows what they are talking about. And when it comes to specific components, the component we mentioned, hardware, software, systems, we have also another need. It's a need for continuous and autonomous evaluation and attestation. It's not enough to, I would say, certify a system before launching, launch it and forget. That's not how it's working right now. You have to maintain your level of security all the time. You have to maintain digital twin on the ground to be able to test them, validate the change you will need to apply on your space vehicle or your probe or your launcher. And those process has to be done nearly all the time. And it has to be done in autonomy by the teams that are in charge of those components. And that's really important to delegate this security, because you want teams to feel involved and in charge of their security. It can't rely anymore on cybersecurity alone. It's not a solution. So you need tools, you need partners that are providing capacities to the space team, to the flight software team, the hardware team, and having the possibility for them to be autonomous on cybersecurity without asking us every time they have to do something. That's really important also. We are here, of course, to help them all the time when they need it. But we want them to grow, so they have to be autonomous. So that was one part of the project and what we were looking for with Yogosha. And we had also to standardize it. You know that a lot of standards are existing now on cybersecurity or space cybersecurity when it comes to CCSDS, CCSS, ISO, IEEE, etc. So the question is about, you can also mention threat modeling. So you have to choose, you have to pick one. And of course, we have our own security standards, and we have the defense one. We have the French Cybersecurity Agency one as well. So you have to mix everything. You need a big blender. And what comes out of it is basically a baseline that you have to manage. So that's one part of the security testing as a service. We also needed a sectorial approach. So this checklist, this blender, has to be suitable for space system, for all actors and all our environment. So again, it's a mix between cyber and space expertise. We won't do it without space people, and we can't do it, of course, without cyber security people. Proximity is another, not an issue, but a requirement. Most of the systems we have are really protected on premises, air-gapped. So we needed a solution for external resources to be able to reach them. Of course, not reach directly a satellite, but we need them to be able to reach a simulator. Either it's a full digital one or one with hardware in the loop. So this means that we have to involve electronic at one time or another. And so we needed a solution for to not open, but to make available some of our operational infrastructure and air-gap system to the ecosystem that want to develop or the ecosystem that want to audit the infrastructure. So we started this project, and a lot of them actually with what we call a cybersecurity challenge. It was open for the public 2 years ago. We issued a call for interest, and we had nearly 50 projects submitted by the industry. Some of them were more oriented on protecting the infrastructure, some of them on detection, auditing, and so on. I won't list all of them. And we selected Yogosha as the 2 finalists. We had 2 finalists, and Yogosha was one of them. It's just an award, just for reference. That's the average R&D program that we are able right now I insist on right now because this is improving. But per system, this is what we can do when you want to rise a TRL of one system, one solution to the next level. So we can be involved in multi-year project with partners. And this process of R&D is fully open on internet. You can submit your ideas. We read them all the time, and we select project, and we just build them with you, or you build them for you. Because sometimes our interest is just for the sector, not CNES needs. And that's it. Just for the context and for clarity, we were working with Yogosha since 2019 on auditing a lot of CNES public assets through bug bounties on the CNES public website. CNES, I would say, Jira, Confluence, all kind of platform we have online. They have, I think, all been audited already by your team and your resources. And yeah, I leave the floor to you to
okay.
present.
Thank you so much, Julien, for your trust and for being with us this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing fine. Hope that everyone can hear me, even people. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. My name is Yassir Kazar. I'm CEO and co-founder of Yogosha. I will get back to that in a few seconds. And yeah, with the collaboration started on 2019, and at the time, Yogosha was mainly known as a bug bounty platform, meaning that we had a platform where we have a worldwide community of ethical hackers, cybersecurity researchers, and you can submit an application through the platform, and you can reward the researcher for every vulnerabilities they are going to find within your system. And we moved it and we pivot the company from that time to a more stretched approach where we have now a multi-operations approach through the platform, meaning that we can deliver bug bounty approaches, we can have continuous pen tests, we can have penetration test as a service, red teaming, and also we start working at the time on what we call security checklist, because we feel also on our side that there was a need for more and more practical and standard approaches when it came to cybersecurity. Also, at the time what was happening in the same area between 2018 and 2020, we've been working and exploring airspace sectors, because on our pool of hackers and security researchers, we had a very strong pool of skills around this area. So we had first experience with the Aéroport de Paris, Paris Airports, ADP, where we selected a pool of researchers that do some insights work on some hardware, helping hardening them, obviously. And we have also organized a live hacking event with the Space Agency of the UAE, where we brought 200 ethical hackers and cybersecurity from all around the world so they can test the cybersecurity of a satellite, physical satellite this time. And we can get to the detail after the speak, but obviously within few hours they succeeded to reverse the telemetry. Within more few hours they succeeded to start jamming the signal. And it was really helpful, obviously, for the technical team, because this is what everyone now is looking for, okay? Everyone wants the reality check. If someone that is really a real attacking, a bad guy, I want to know what he can really do within our systems. So we were thinking about a use case where we can start working on this idea of standardizing our approach. This is where we crossed the path of Julien and his team, and this is where we hit, because this is exactly what we proposed. Okay, if our platform can help through that. So if we can move to, yeah. Thank you so much. I did already this part. I guess it's this one. Okay, so this was the idea. The idea was that as we have the ability on the platform to build this security checklist, because we have this kind of approach on the platform, we start working with Julien and his team to start thinking about how we can build a specific security checklist for the CNES, but also for the space industry, obviously. So I'm not going to deep dive into every phase, but there were 4 main phases. The first one was the deployment of our platform. We have a SaaS model initially, but we have also an air gap and on-premise also solution. So the first step was to deploy our platform within, obviously, the infrastructure of the CNES to make sure that it's working, that everything is smooth, that everything is fine, and that also answers the needs. That was the first step. The second one was to start doing the pen test with our pool of researchers. The idea here for us, or the philosophy, and Julien, correct me if I'm wrong, since day one, it wasn't the aim wasn't to build an exhaustive list of every possible scenario. Rather than that, we aim at a bottom-up approach, meaning that we wanted to build the more realistic, practical scenarios that an attacker can leverage, obviously, and from that, build a first-level practical level that every player, industrial in the area, should meet, in order to be sure that he's ready to face this kind of scenario. So this is what we did. We start doing the pen test. After that, we enter into a phase of analysis and modelization of all the scenario, and then we build the security checklist, we chip it, and now I believe that we enter into an improvement phase. Okay, so we start continuing doing the test. Whenever a new scenario will come up, we will include it in the platform and obviously make it available, so we can have, as Julien stated, we can have a standard that everyone can use to measure the gap, between his expectation, the realities of the scenario, and also, and this is a very important point, I guess, for you also, Julien, we wanted to make sure that there is a knowledge transfer to the technical team, okay? If there is no ownership from the technical side of the teams that are on the ground, whatever we can bring would have no value. So this is why we wanted to make this available so everyone can understand this scenario. If you are a tech guy and you want to yourself reproduce this scenario, you will be able to do it. I will give you the floor once again so you can pursue the presentation.
Yeah, so the approach that Yassir described is, of course, a threat-oriented methodology. So we started from, you can take a picture, but it's also on CNES website. So at the back of the guide we have on our booth, you have a QR code, and this is freely available, of course, and we maintain it and we'll upgrade it soon. So we've selected with Yogosha a kind of framework that we want to see specifically on the checklist. So people and operator organization are able to measure themselves against specific, of course they are not the same, but it depends the scope you want, it depends your point of view. So you can decide how you read yourself and your security level. So we have, of course, the CCSDS because it's mandatory, it's interoperability, it's important for space. So that's the baseline, but also ESA Space Shield, Sparta, to describe threats. So all of those frameworks are important for us, but we are also working in this, I would say, norm and standards family. So that was important to pick, select, choose, and deploy. So we achieved to have 7 categories from physical to data, and that's pretty classic again. But that's a kind of form of spreadsheet, I would say. And for now, we have 85 checkpoints. So that's it. That's easy. That's reproducible. You can take it. You can play it yourself. Well, you have to do it. You have to have the skill. Some of the control can be automated. Some of the control are purely manual and require high-level expertise. But that's the point. We want an operator to be able to measure itself against those controls. That's also important for us because maybe you're aware that the French space operation law has been updated last summer, and it's now involving cybersecurity check and requirements, and operators, in order to get a license, have to demonstrate their security level, and that's one approach that we are studying in order to implement the law. So, for example, the physical part, so it's really straightforward. You can read it, anyone can understand it, that's the goal. And we have reference, so for example, those reference can be the Sparta one, I'm not sure, but it could be those one. And yeah, it's basically, so we highlight physical as well. It's not cyber, we know, but if you don't master physical, you lost already. So that's for missions, at least. That's really important to have also missions, operation, and builders to be able to know what they have to do and how they have to protect, for example, a mission center, and so forth. And another category, for example, is ground software. Again, very straightforward and direct things that you can check, that you have to measure, at least, if not to patch or control. And yeah, again, very straightforward. It's a blend. I'm sorry, but because it can be read again as another standard, but the aim is to be simpler than the standards. It's not as complete. So if you are a regulated operator and so on, you need to do more, of course. But that's the base that we can spread, that we can share with the sector, and that's basically like this guide. That's just a base to discuss, and that's how we spread knowledge. We become together stronger. And how the space sector and can also have discussion with cyber actors in order to make sure that we are facing the threats that right now are not negligible, I would say. That's it. Maybe a two-person slide. So we wanted to highlight few findings of this. Again, it's a research and development project. But we achieve very great result because we have something in production, we have something we can share. That's not the usual for research and development. And I think what was a requirement for success is to have both cyber and space at the table. Nothing would have been done without or operation people or flight software people, hardware people. Flight dynamics as well were involved. Everyone was involved in order to establish scenarios that we wanted to check. What do you fear in your mission center? What's your nightmare, basically? And then, of course, you have to be ready. Well, I would say manage vulnerability, but more to manage what will come out of this project. Because when you are looking for something, most of the time you find it in our domain. So you have to find vulnerabilities. Well, you will find vulnerabilities. You have to patch. You have to deal with them, and of course do a lot of diplomacy with missions, because it's not straightforward for a mission to know that there are vulnerabilities, that they fly with vulnerability, that they are maybe controlled. Of course, it's always a matter of context in that project. And we took every measure possible right on time, like we do, and it's a continuous process. But yeah, that was one tricky part, missions and diplomacy, but that's part of our job. We started with ground, because that's the simplest thing to do. But what was interesting is that your researcher were, I would say, in a few days, already attracted by your satellite. That's nothing you can prevent. The satellite is the goal for a hacker, and that's what we are looking for, even in a controlled environment. That's, I would say, yeah, like Gollum. They wanted it. That was so we had, of course, to be clear on the scope. And when it comes to qualification environment or simulator, that's not an issue to break a satellite, because hacker will hack, of course, and. What was also interesting is that it's a standard. It's, I would say, a guideline on what you have to control in your base system. But craftsmanship was also really interesting. You have to leave the human speak. You can't automate everything, and this was really important. They started to craft tool for our environment. And that's what we were looking for. Say, how a human, a very skilled human, can hack a system and how he will do it. So, of course, we observe, we learn, and that's something we will do. We'll include in our production process, but craftsmanship was very important. You can't automate everything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I have a few words to add on the top of that, is that going out from this experience and all what we have learned on the almost 15 years where we are in this market, is that the future of cybersecurity, could it be in airspace or elsewhere, depends of three axes. The first one is that cybersecurity needs to be continuous today. Okay, you cannot just do a test for 5 days and then wait for 6 months and redo a check, because the threat is in between. Okay, when you stop your testing and then everyone gets back to his daily work, this is where you are really vulnerable. So you need to find new ways to test continuously your assets. That's the first one. The second one is cybersecurity needs to be collaborative. Okay, whatever you learn, sharing with the others will help you, face more and more attacks because you will get back in return. So this is really crucial, and this is also what happens with the hackers. Okay, this community and cyber researchers, they have no issue with sharing their knowledge because you know what? They know that technology is evolving 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So whatever they are sharing, they master their knowledge through sharing, and they know that in the next 24 hours, there will be a new playground for them, okay? If it's not AI, it will be Bitcoin, it's not Bitcoin, quantum physics, and it continues for them. And the final axis for me is that cybersecurity needs to be offensive, not in a way that you should attack other people, but in a way that you should attack yourself. You really should, at some point, get to a crash tests. If you need to see the reality. In order to do that, as Julien mentioned, you need to have really skilled people, and you need to get yourself ready through this kind of platform, through this kind of approach to see a reality check in order to be able to face a real attack if it happens one day, but also in order to harden your system in a very secure way. So what you mentioned is really important, and I want to go and end up with that. When you have a real attack, and he doesn't care if you doesn't work on Sunday, if you close your office at midnight, he doesn't care, okay? He's not going to give you his IP address. He's not going to test your security Monday from 9 to 5 o'clock. It doesn't work. So you should somehow embrace this new way of thinking about cybersecurity in order to be ready. And I'm going to stop here. I don't know if you want to add a few words, Julien.
That's perfect, thank you.
Thank you so much, and we can move on to the Q&A if there are any Q&A.
Well, thank you a lot, Yassir and Julien. Do we have any question in the room? Okay, I don't see any questions. We don't have any question also online. So,
crystal clear.
We'll say that it was crystal clear, right?
Yes,
I will assume.
it was definitely clear. And thank you again for.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.